What's good, guys? Welcome back to Everyday Struggle Nadeska Academics and Wayno here. Guys, I'm not gonna lie. When I woke up this morning and saw it was 25 degrees, I hit snooze like 15 times. Almost didn't make it. I don't know how we did this for almost 4 years when we actually have to physically get up at 5 a.m. and go to work.
All right, man. That's translation, man. I'm checked the fuck out, man.
I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm just being honest. Why can't people hibernate through the winter just like animals? No bullshit.
Well, I'll say this makes me miss the studio more, which I think we're going into the studio soon, aren't we?
Like, you don't have to pretend. I already told them last week we're gonna see each other.
Like, we wasn't all over social media with that shit.
Oh man, you were live on Instagram
we weren't,
for like
man.
24 hours.
We used to pretend. You see, man. These people, they're checked out.
You never made it work, academics. We always used to try to
used to be
doing. Made it work.
We used to be doing 3 episodes in one day and just act like I just magically always have the same shoes and also pants on. And
you would try to pretend, and you would just fuck shit up all the time.
Right, you always.
All right, well let's try to pretend right for the last time. God damn it!
Look, even production in the group chat is like, "Ak, what are you talking about? You were broadcasting the whole thing last Friday." But guys, we did film 3 episodes last Friday, and it was just really nice to see everyone. Man, it's been 8 months, which is so nuts. I forgot you guys were like real people. I could reach out and touch you, so that was actually a lot of fun. And now,
absolutely, it was good to see everybody.
Wayno looked different because I'm so used to seeing him in that goddamn corner that when I saw him in real life, it was a little shocking.
Academics got a little slim, y'all. Y'all gotta see him. He got a little slim.
It's that.
At least those designer clothes he had on was making him look slim.
Man, shout out to Funk Master Flex. He put me on. Know what I mean? That's a cap, by the way. Let's not start that.
All right, guys. So before we get into our music news today, a little bit of sports news. Floyd Mayweather coming out of retirement in February to face Logan Paul in an exhibition match on February 20th, 2021. Are you looking forward to this?
The hype is going to be way more better than the bout. That's how I feel. The hype is going to be very, very big. But the shit about that just shows me what boxing is at. It's like, damn. So who we consider arguably the greatest fighter of all time is coming out of retirement to fight a guy who is just beat Nate Robinson up. You know what I'm saying? Just because it's going to get a ton of views and they're going to make a ton of money. I mean, I think the whole engagement is going to be entertaining, but this is not a real boxing match for real.
I'm excited. Super excited.
Really?
Like, actually excited.
Why are you so excited?
And by the way, the kid has no chance. But I'm going to tell you why I enjoy this. And I'm enjoying the exhibition and somewhat of the celebrity versions of these fights because, granted, yes, it's not watching the most highly competitive, fight we've ever seen. But this is what boxing has caused. That now the biggest draws to your sport is actually fanfare type of clout matches, which are exhibition. They should have done what Dana White has done for the UFC. Dana White specifically makes sure niggas can't duck matches, is what the fans want when they want it. And if for so long in boxing, when you wanted to see Floyd versus Pacquiao, you waited 5 years till you're like, are these niggas even in their prime anymore to still go at it? They robbed us of so many moments that now when people know the stakes ain't that high because there ain't no belts on the line, and to keep it real, they might bring some belts in this because I see a lot of entertainers looking for a quick bag. I like that, there's a entertainment part of boxing. What we should do is look at the actual boxers, Gervonta Davis, Wilder. Yo, all y'all niggas got to step up the entertainment factor because while y'all are great boxers, the thing is, this is entertainment. This ain't street fighting. This is entertainment. And you got to give people what they want. You got to put on a show. Even with Adrian Broner losing like the last 2 of his last 3 fights, we'll still watch him because that nigga's a clown in a good way. We like entertainment, and this is all entertainment. I'm not for it. I think people are feeling away because it's overshadowing the actual athletes, but they need to step up the competition and also give the people what they want. Look, yo, Gervonta Davis, one of the biggest draws right now. He just knocked out a nigga who looked like he shouldn't even be in the same building with him. Give us what we want. I don't know what that fight is for him, but still.
I was about to say, like, who would you want to see Gervonta fight?
Hold on. By the way, here's the thing. If we think about the money that's coming in, so the Tyson fight with Roy Jones Jr., $60 million in pay-per-view buys. So reportedly, he probably got like $20 million. $20 million for a real quick exhibition match. How much they do? 6 rounds?
6 rounds. No
Floyd, who still spars every day. He also has other boxers under his wing. Again, there's zero threat of like him like getting injured at all. He's going to toy with this kid. Hopefully he can show us something different than his actual competitive fight and actually be a showman. Maybe try to knock him down. Box him with one hand behind your back or something like that. I'm all for it. I'm not buying it anyway. I'm going to hit the free link. But still, salute to Floyd getting another, like, $40 to $50 million. I'm pretty sure he'll buy some more Bugattis.
Right.
All right, guys.
I love it.
Thank you for that. So artists falling out with their teams, specifically their managers and their labels, is really nothing new when it comes to rap, but this one surprised me a little bit. So Chance the Rapper's former manager, who we all know as Pat the Manager, is suing him over what he's saying is a lack of success of Chance's debut album, The Big Day, which dropped last year. He's calling it, quote, a freestyle-driven product of subpar quality. Now, there's a lot of, legal speak here, but I'll just try to summarize this. So Pat is basically suing Chance for $3 million for unreimbursed expenses and basically not putting enough effort into that project. So they started working together around 2012. And over the years, anytime you see Chance, you would see Pat. But apparently things went sour leading up to the release of The Big Day. So Pat says that basically Chance, coming off the success of re-releasing his mixtapes 10 Day and Acid Rap on streaming services, decided to announce an album release date prematurely. So this was in February 2019. I think he announced that it would come in July. And Pat thought he had too much going on in the meantime, including his wedding. Basically, he wouldn't have enough time to create an album during that point. Then he says that following fan disappointment in Chance's most recent album and underwhelming support for the tour, Chance basically fired Pat and replaced him with his father and his brother, and then wouldn't pay him up to the terms of his agreement. He goes on to say again in just legal speak that instead of acknowledging the numerous distractions and artistic compromises that resulted from the wasted time in the studio, all of that contributed to the lackluster album. He basically blamed it on Pat, and now he wants his money. So Chance's team has responded basically saying these are unfounded claims, that Pat has been paid everything that he's due, but I did not see this coming at all. I thought these two were pretty tight. I didn't even realize that they had stopped working together earlier this year. What do you guys take away from this?
You always see this coming. Come on, we always see this coming with an artist and a manager, man. It always happens. Now, I think it's a weird ass story for a manager to sue an artist for not being good enough. You know, that's the fun fact of all this. But I don't know. It's like every time I see something like this, I just think about like how the public perceives it. It's always perceived that, you know, everybody's so tight and everything is so good. And I feel like everybody's always in love when there's no money. As soon as that money comes, shit starts to change. You know, I don't know if there's any weight to Pat's argument, but I mean, if you look at some of the shit that he's saying, I'm pretty sure that they just had a real fallout. And then once they had that fallout, he started calculating everything that he thought he should have been paid for. You know?
Yeah, like I pretty much read the lawsuit, and I'm gonna be honest, which I think this probably happens very often. By the way, the lawsuit's so ironic because last year I watched, like, I think it was something on Hulu or some other fact. I remember watching a whole interview, and I believe his manager was featured heavily in the interview, and he was basically almost speaking like he was some type of guru, like, hey, I'm the brains behind having this guy successful without a label. And a lot of people, including me, trying to crack the code. How do you get this lit, this big, without a label? A lot of people are speculating that he's had label help and other things that people in a label system would have, because you can't get to a certain level without it. So ironic, after that was kind of the narrative set in place, that now he comes and he's kind of unraveling a bunch of the narrative that that they've written off for a long time. I read it and I summed it up as this, though. Because obviously it's 3 sides to every story. His side, Chance's side, and really what's probably a mix of both. It appears that, and maybe Wayno could identify with this, it appears that Chance, while having success and as time went on, started looking at the why he was having success as it's because of me and what I'm doing, and you're here for the ride. So, you know, you could tell he was one up in the manager's, like, you know, suggestion. Hey, yo, listen, let's have a meet. I could imagine managers like, let's have a meeting about your release date for the big day. Hey, you're trying to get married, you're doing these other things. We need to get locked in. This is the important album. It's coming after Chance 3. Let's go. And Chance is like, nah, I love my wife. I'm putting it out right here. Okay. Again, I'm just imagining that because I'm looking at a lot of, like, the only reason why he mentioned that the album wasn't good, he wasn't shitting on him. He was just saying Chance was starting to blame him. That's one of the reasons they fell out. He was starting to blame him for why the project was lackluster. And he was saying, I gave you 25 warnings. I told you this wasn't how we do stuff. And you consistently one-up me. And basically, you put me to the side. Also, and I don't know when the non-payment stuff started, again, it said that Chance started using his brother and his father more of a management capacity than his longtime manager. Chance might have thought the genius came from within and he could have anybody, especially family, which family all the time ain't the best business people. You know, everybody try to have these momagers. Your mom is great mom, maybe not a great manager, but maybe he thought that the manager wasn't bringing anything to the equation, and that he could have been wrong because honestly, not only did his album not look good, his tour got canceled, things have looked a lot different. I will also throw in another thing into it. I think the subject matter of Chance's music has definitely contributed to why his album wasn't received well, but of course, when you in a situation like that, you always blame everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, that happens with most artists. I feel like, I mean, it's happened to me in different instances that I've been in. I think that, like, a lot of times artists just get to a point where they do feel like, shit, if it's not for me being who I am, you wouldn't have anything. And that is definitely not the case. And the shit happens, it happens all the time. I mean, you know that video of P where he says, like, you watch artists grind with their managers, and once they get to a certain point, they feel like they got to move on, like they need to bring somebody else in. Even if he did feel like that, what about all the work that the manager put in to get you to a point where somebody else could come take over? At that point, you just on cruise control, whoever comes into the scene. But yeah, man, that shit is fucked up, man. Like it's fucked up to see, but it happens all the time, more than people even know about.
Yeah, and it really shows that sometimes, with artists, neglecting some of the things that you might not think is important, but your manager, your team does so seamlessly every time. It's like when every rapper goes independent and they're like, yo, my label ain't did nothing for me. Mm-hmm. And the first time they go independent and they drop an album, they didn't have a press, like a whole press tour set up. They didn't have billboards. They didn't have these things. And they said, yo, what happened? Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, that's what happened. They were doing shit for you that you never even gave them credit for. Well, now when it stopped, now you have an epiphany.
A lot of people don't even understand their budgets. I mean, like that like I said, man, shit happens all day, every day. And a lot of artists, they sign deals, and when they do sign a deal, it's the greatest day of their life. And not just Chance, because even with Chance, while he might not be signed to a major label, he still has some sort of deals, people that he does business with. A lot of artists don't understand like what it is, and you can see it reflect in the work. You know what I mean? Post when you look at somebody's situation, post whomever the team that they was working with, you be like, oh damn, that's why I wasn't received the way it used to be.
Let me ask you a question from a manager's perspective. Mm-hmm. When a manager sues an artist, mm-hmm. after, because now you got to reveal certain details. Now people always, usually the public at least, sides with the artist. Does that hurt the manager's like ability to go get with other artists? Because they might be like, yo, ain't you suing so-and-so and blah, blah, blah. Does it hurt them? Because I've always thought anytime when you call out your label, people don't want to sign on that label. When an artist calls out their label, people don't sign on that label. If people are seeing the manager talk about their favorite artist, it might be like, oh, no, he's probably the problem. Yeah. So let's not fuck with him.
Well, me, myself, I've never personally, not personally, but I've never sued any of my former artists. I think that can hurt you, though. You're right. It's like the thing that artists mostly want to know when you're not working with an artist anymore is like, yo, what happened with that situation? You know what I mean? So you kind of like got to explain in bits and pieces, not every single thing, because then you also got to remember that shit, you might fall out with this artist, and they might feel like if you spill everything to them, that they don't want to work with you because you do the same shit to them. but I've never gone through that personally. You know,
I mean, a lot
I've
of
never
artists
gone through
complain that, you know, their team, their label, their managers are not getting them enough looks, right? And this, what's crazy about this whole thing is that they had so much success leading up to that album. And I think in there it even says that after the project dropped and maybe it wasn't so well received, Chance still went on to do like Ellen and all the other late night shows. And Pat was telling him not to do that because he would highlight even further that the album wasn't great. So he was still getting a lot of looks. I remember him doing a ton of, he even did all the rap media circuit at the time. So he got a push. Because when we get to the Teyana Taylor story, that's what she's saying, that she's putting in all this work. She doesn't get the push. So just a crazy story. I just didn't see it ending this way with a public lawsuit. But do you guys think fans genuinely care about this? Are fans like deeply reading into lawsuits, or does this come and go for them?
They do. They care about it from the artist perspective. I mean, like the fans don't really give a fuck about the people that work behind the scenes, and I guess that's because they feel like they're not giving them the product when it's the other way around. I feel like, you know, there are bad managers. I'm not gonna sit here and say like every single manager, every person behind the scenes is good, but a lot of the work that you get from your favorite artist comes from a manager might having a relationship with certain producers or certain artists that give features or being able to put them on certain platforms. But for the most part, fans don't give a fuck about none of that. They just want the music, and they feel like everybody's doing the artist wrong anyway.
Makes sense. Makes sense. All right, so before we get to more label drama, because we also have Saweetie having some issues with her label, how about a couple new records? Today for Hit Brick or Wait on It, 2 songs from Lil Baby, who recently celebrated his birthday and then dropped these songs. So the first one is called On Me, produced by Shy Shy and Evergreen. Brick, Hit, or Wait on It?
Hey, before we get into these songs, I just want y'all to know that my birthday's coming up too, and if y'all ain't treating me, if you and academics is not treating me the way 4PF and QC treated Lil Baby, we're no longer friends anymore.
Nah, $1 million in gifts. Yeah, if we pool all our resources, we got you, Wayne.
I'll forward that to Complex upper management. Okay, we will see how they treat you. Okay?
Nah, but
wait on his birthday. That nigga you can keep the merchandise, but that's about it.
That's it. No, but like both of these. I mean, the first record is On Me. Was ill about this whole weekend. We just seen, of course, the rollout and the promotion for these records was Lil Baby's birthday party. It feels like, you know, and once they came, it seems like he's just competing with himself. You know, On Me is I like it. I think it's a hit, but I love Everybody more. I feel like Everybody is going to be the one that like kind of lasts a little bit longer.
All right, so that one is produced by Section 8. So Ak, you might as well just give us your thoughts on both of them, On Me and Errbody.
Yeah, no, I agree with Wayno. I think both of them are hit type records. I do enjoy the Everybody record more. I will say this though, I like how Lil Baby, he's treating these singles and these drops like mini EPs. Like it's almost like kind of a build up. They're turning it into a whole, like this was a whole weekend thing. Obviously, it coincided with his birthday, but I feel like, and I'm looking. Remember, we've had this conversation about QC. Like everybody else is kind of chilling, you know, just twiddling their thumbs. What happened to the Migos? They're on stop and start. You know, this shit is like a New York City bus. But when it comes to stop it, that was a good analogy. When it comes to Lil Baby, you know, he's in full throttle, and I'm watching this, and I'm like, man, to be honest, he could give us maybe 1 or 2 more of these, and then set up to drop his album like next year, mid next year. He's in a great lane, and I don't know, man, like. I think he's unstoppable.
I also want to give some credit to that kid, Section 8. Like, he's only 19 years old, yo. He did Bigger Picture, We Paid, and now Everybody. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think he's shaping up to be one of the best new up-and-coming producers as well.
All right, so before we get to Act by the Numbers, a couple more stories about artists being upset with their teams. So Saweetie recently called out her label for releasing her song Best Friend featuring Doja Cat without her permission. She says, I'm extremely disappointed in my label, Warner Brothers, for prematurely releasing a single I was so excited about. I feel disrespectful because I'm hands-on with all of my creative. She's saying she basically had a big rollout and they just dropped it quickly. She also added, the wrong version at that. We put so much work into the visual. We shot for days for the cinematic girl anthem, and for this to happen, frustrated. Can labels even do that? Just drop records whenever they want without an artist's permission? Or do you think there's something else going on
here? I mean, there has to be some sign-offage, you know what I mean? Like, and it has to be communicated with their managers to know when it's coming off. I mean, the thing that when I see things like this happen, like you can't just get a wrong version of a record, and it's too many it's too many hands that has to cross before it gets out, before it gets uploaded to their base to be put out. There's too many hands that has to cross. So I'm always like confused when I see somebody say, "Oh, this is the wrong version," because there's too many approvals, especially with an artist like Saweetie. You know, she does really well with her singles. You know what I mean? She has tons of number ones when it comes to radio. She probably arguably one of the like best radio artists like of this year or last. Like she always comes with a record, but her shit. Well, just specifically, like it's too many signatures that have to go down for the wrong version to come out. So I'm just really confused as to how that happened.
Yeah, I mean, she's obviously complaining about the timing and also the version, but also like, you know, she says the creativity that she wanted to put into releasing the record wasn't there because it was pretty much rushed. She said something. She said the thirst for clout, and I'm like, is labels looking for clout or are they looking for cash?
Right.
I don't know what's going on over here, but again, we are fans. We're gonna side with the artist. We're not gonna hear the label come out and issue a statement like, "Yo, Saweetie, are you tweaking, shorty? Like you sent this in with your team. Y'all said it was good, and then right after we submitted it, y'all sent another version 2 days after. Relax. You know what I mean? We're not gonna hear that part of the story clearly. So hey, I guess we only have her side. I mean, hey, I side with the artist, right? Like,
exactly.
Man, I'm sorry you feel disrespected. Like, I didn't hear the record. Did you hear the record? Is it cool?
I didn't even know it came out. Honestly.
Okay.
I didn't know.
Well, listen, I will say though, in the last 2 singles, remember the Back to the Streets one, the whole Birkin thing was the promo. Maybe calling your label a fuck nigga, that's the promo for this one. Who knows?
That record came out pretty recently though, right? So I guess she's really dropping them back to back right now. It's only a few weeks ago I feel like we talked about the Birkin bags.
I will say I like what she's doing. She don't strike me as an album artist. She's a singles artist. Rock out for that for now. She'll eventually drop an album, but focus on what you're good at.
All right. Well, you know who dropped an album this year and is feeling pretty underappreciated? Teyana Taylor. So she wrote this very long post that she later clarified. It made it sound like she was retiring, and then it sounded like it upset her core fans. So she wanted to clarify it was not directed at them and it wasn't about a Grammy. She went on to say that it's just a label. She says, I constantly feel alone. I constantly feel unappreciated and I feel failed because there's literally no push. So she said she's basically looking around, you know, at all the other artists are getting, and she's wondering why she's not getting those looks. She said, I asked Def Jam to drop me on almost 10 different occasions, straight to their face up in the building at the table, just telling them to drop me. So of course she signed to Def Jam via Kanye's label Good Music. We know her last album a couple years ago, I think we all felt got overshadowed in that big Good Music 7-song project release, but the project she dropped this year was great. I know, Wayno, you had a chance to check that out. How do you feel about Teyana's situation?
Hey, I'm wondering where Kanye is at. You know, where's the guy who's fighting the machines, who's standing up, who's giving everybody their publishing back? I mean, the thing about Teyana being signed to Def Jam, you got to remember she's through Good Music, which is Kanye's production company. So even with all of these things, from my knowledge, the way production deals work, it still takes some sign-offage from Kanye. So for everything that she's going through, I'm wondering where's he at in all of this. But honestly, I feel like Teyana is a great artist. I feel like a lot of people don't get a chance to experience that because, yeah, you don't really see a push when she comes out. I think Def Jam is like a legacy label, but they don't have like the youth in there. You know, I had artists sign there before, and not that they're bad. I don't think that they're bad at all. I just think that they don't hire enough young people. And this game, whether you want to choose to believe it or not, is ran by young people. You know, and I feel like just in music, not specifically Def Jam, but period, a lot of people don't get out their seats or really mentor and usher younger people in, you know what I mean, so that they could get their shine. When Def Jam was in its heyday, it was ran by a bunch of young people that end up becoming legendary moguls. And I feel like, you know, for a person like Teyana, she just needs a person who understands not only her music, but what's going on in the culture and what she provides. And I feel like the mark kind of gets missed a bit when it comes to her. And now this is the one that I wouldn't put on her as an artist.
All right. So again, the Saweetie topic, I'm like, all right, man, label definitely ain't gonna say that. Let's blame the label. But with Teyana, I guess I need more information to understand her gripes more. And I guess what I'm saying is that there's a lot of times an artist because we constantly, and not saying they aren't, we shower them with the "you're so talented, you're so great," that they themselves envision that they should be big to this level while they only get to here. And what I'm saying is, she had the best sales she had this year. She dropped an album. She had the best. She sold 32,000 records. I'm wondering where or what type of push that she's seen directly. Something that we could, like, tangible shit. Because honestly,
I got some ideas.
Okay, please interject. I want to hear.
I'll say, listen. If we take, like, you know how we play fantasy basketball, and we say, yo, we take Russell Westbrook from this team, put him on this team, or we take Braun and put him here. But what happened? Take Teyana Taylor and put her on LVRN. What do you think happens? When we start thinking about rollouts, we start thinking about how the music is communicated. I feel like, and I'm not pitting them against each other, you know, because I feel like Summer Walker, she's a great artist, and she got slighted on a lot of shit. She's not nominated for a Grammy. But I think that Teyana, not only musically, but dance, all the other shit she's into, we don't really get to see a lot of that, you know. And the only thing I don't like what artists do is when they look at another artist's situation and say, why them but not me? But I feel like when it comes to Teyana, she's so talented on many levels. She can act, she can sing, she can dance. I feel like she can sell product, that it should be amplified. It should be way bigger than what it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, two things with that. I don't think, you know, I know we aren't trying to make the comparison, but we're just trying to just fantasy football it to say if she was somewhere else. Her music isn't exactly, or doesn't fill the same almost lane like as Summer Walker. So you can't. I don't know if their success levels will match. Also, I'll go back to even like Ciara. Ciara had, you know, one of those people who are like super talented, who are like, hey, they can rap, they can sing, they can do that, they can do everything.
All right, go ahead.
I think sometimes it takes a while. And again, like, I'm not trying to be giving no Kanye no reprieve, or even, I'm definitely not throwing no cape for no fucking label. I'm just saying, I think there is a growth. And while she's been there for 10 years, I really haven't seen much. Like, we heard a lot. Like, Teyana gonna come with some shit. She gonna come with some shit. Then obviously she got rushed out with the 7 songs. But I thought this one did it justice a bit, and I felt like it's a growth. It's a growth structure, or it's like a growth like curve, where I think her next joint is gonna be better received. She's gonna do better numbers. She probably have better looks.
Why you think it's gonna be the next joint? All right, so think about it like this.
Because she's growing.
All right, but look, I mean, that last album she put out, that was 2018. That's almost 3 years ago, right? So let's say 2 years. You know what I mean? 2 years. In the space of 2 years, man, I think that she has elevated herself to new spaces, to where she's kind of carved herself out of the whole good music umbrella. I'm pretty sure within these 10 years, we're not talking about how the coldest what is it? Cold Summer. You know what I mean? That album, all the other shit she probably done under that umbrella, to the point where Kanye is kind of pretty much outside of music, and that's the person that put her in that building. You know what I'm saying? I feel like she's kind of broken a mold and put herself in her own space. Well, when you think about Teyana Taylor, you don't think about good music. So knowing that you have an asset like that, I don't know the particulars. I'm just saying that it should be going a little bit harder. She's providing the right type of product. If you listen to her album, she got the right type of shit.
She did put in a lot of work, choreographing the videos and everything. But she also seems like she still has a good relationship with Kanye. That's the confusing part. You know, you have to wonder what conversations they have behind the scenes about this, if any, or is she only communicating directly with people at Def Jam? But I guess we'll never know these details until Kanye decides to go on a tweeting spree. But he's left her out of those so far, which is probably for the better. How about we end today with some news?
Oh yeah, pretty much, man. I just want to salute to my man, Bad Bunny, my new best friend. Y'all
have a relationship now?
Yeah, it's my homie.
That's cool.
Okay, listen, his new album, El Último Tour, debuted at #1. Come on, stop playing. It's the first Spanish album to reach #1 in the history of the Billboard Top 200 charts, which means it didn't just hit the Latin, chart, be #1. It hit the overall Billboard chart, being #1, which is such a huge thing, which also shows how big Bad Bunny is as an artist. By the way, I believe he's the best streaming artist like in the world. So salute to him this year. Pop Smoke also, his album was at number 5, selling 48,000 copies. Meg's album dropped to number 7 with 47,000. And Juice WRLD, he was hanging in there. He's at number 10 this week with 36,000. Pretty much, we're winding down. It's December. You're not going to get much albums. So we're kind of going to ride it on into January and see what comes up next. And for some people who, of course, No Ceilings 3, that wasn't really released to DSP. So you won't have numbers on those.
Okay. Guys, so like this COVID spike is still a big problem all over the country, although some people are just having COVID fatigue. But remember a few weeks ago, we talked about Jeremiah. He was in the hospital and people were pretty worried. Well, now it seems like he's out in better condition and, released a statement saying, thank you to everyone for the prayers and well wishes. So just a little bit of good news to end the episode. That's all we have for today, unless you guys have any final thoughts, gentlemen.
Nah, I ain't got no.
No, I'm good. It's time to go back to bed. Yo, okay.
Right. I talked a lot.
Guys, thank you for watching Everyday Struggle. Again, we're going to be here all week, and then next week is our final week on the show, wrapping up on December 17th. We'll see you here tomorrow on Complex.